I always liked to go when Dad went out on assignments because I loved to ride in the car. He never had a problem with me going at all. And I learned a lot about Pittsburgh just from riding in the car with him, going to different places. It was really exciting for me because Dad was always away on assignments or making up pictures. So that was my way of having, I guess you could say, quality time. And I didn't realize it then, but I do now. And it made a lot of sense to me in the years later why I did that. But I really enjoyed just riding with Dad.
I remember times when he would always get the nicest car. As soon as they were out, he would get the sharpest car that there was. And I had to ride behind him. That was my seat. Everybody rode on the passenger side, but my seat was directly behind him. He made me feel that I was very special and important when I rode behind him. I was like his co-pilot.
He hated traffic lights. He just couldn't stand traffic lights. He said that he didn't like the way Pittsburgh did their lights. He said you would go to one light, it would change, and now you got to go sit at the next light. He would go out his way to go another direction where there weren't traffic lights. And by doing that, I've learned so much about Pittsburgh just by finding these little side streets and various different ways that people today say, how do you know how to get here and there and everywhere? But I found out another thing because he had so many different assignments lined up. He was on a time schedule. And I didn't realize that until later. And so he would know different ways to go to avoid traffic and avoid those lights. When my dad was driving down the street, he had a way of sounding like a fire engine. It was just great because he would scare kids by acting like he was a fire engine coming down the street and put his head out the window and did that. People thought that I was crazy doing something like that, and I said, well, I better stop doing that. Only Dad could get away with that. But Ma, she didn't drive for a long time. I know why she stopped driving. She took the garage doors off. She just backed right on up and there went the doors. I said, Ma, you did. She said, yes, I did. She said, I forgot the doors were closed.
Wait, wouldn't it still be dark in there?
I don't know, Christian. All I know is she backed the car up and tore the doors off, you know. And you know something? With the garage doors off, they weren't supposed to charge him taxes for that building. Dad paid taxes for years until he found out. He was hot. I said, well, Dad, you know, they're not going to tell you that. That's something you got to find out on your own. It's a shame, but that's the way it is. And he was ready to tear that garage down. I'll never forget it. I worked at this garage down on Homewood. I used to help a guy paint cars, and he sold me that car. I paid $25 for this 1952 Chevy. It had no windows in the side, front and back windshield. Dad never knew I had this car because I left it down there. He had license plates all over the walls. All these license plates. I put top value stamps in for the sticker up in the windshield, and I took one of the license plates off of the wall and put it in the back. It was a stick shift. I could only back up. I couldn't go forward. I finally wound up figuring out how to do it. I drove that car all the way to the library one time. I was crazy. I was young and dumb. What can you say? But I had fun.
I know there was a car accident one time he had because we were on our way somewhere and he dropped something and bent down to pick it up and had a car accident. I think I was in the car, Mom was in the car. Can't remember who else, but I remember my parents talking about it. And that was the only accident I remember them talking about.
Oh, I wrecked his car, you know. Totaled it. I have the pictures to this day. I got the pictures. I was on my way from Brackenridge. I stayed all night, and I was on my way to Westinghouse's 1964 championship game. So I'm going to this game. Came off of the Tarentum Bridge. I'm coming down on the New Kensington bypass, and I turned the bend there. I fell asleep right there, hit the guardrails, rode it all the way around the bend, 100 yards, and I came to when I'm on top of the guardrails going boom, 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 boom. So I tried to get the car back up on the road, and that was the last thing I remember. They said I turned over 3 times, landed upside down in the creek by the high school there. When I came to, I was cold and I was wet. I didn't know I was in this stream, but the radio was still blaring, and all I could remember was Dad used to say, you know, super sports catch on fire when they turn upside down. And he had a Super Sport, Oldsmobile Super Sport. So I'm feeling my way out of this thing. And I felt air and I shot out. Dad had pictures in the trunk. And he came out, oh man, I hope my pictures are okay. But somebody told me that Uncle Woogie told him, bruh, you got your wish. He said, you hated that car. I never knew that. He said, you got your wish. Now you can get another car. Only thing I had from that was a scratch on my wrist and a black eye because I hit the steering wheel and it knocked me out. If it hadn't done that, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today because the entire roof, the front windshield was down in the driver's seat.
And you didn't have a seatbelt on?
No, there weren't seatbelts at that time. Didn't have them.
I knew all the cars back then. I knew them from the Ford, from the Chevy, from the Buick. I knew them all because of my dad. He kept me up with all of the new fashions and the fangles of the cars. And everybody thought that was special because not too many females knew a model or a make of a car back then. So I felt that I had something up on somebody because I knew it, you know. He believed in clean cars. A person could tell who you are by how you keep your car.